Tujamin naye. Unamaanishaje? See the fact that mamake alitoroka.
I have a lot of things in my mind, and your name is the least of my worries. Can you serve me breakfast? As long as you're disrespecting your mother, I do have a problem with your stay here.
But you just came the other day. Are you hiding something from me? What?
Yani wewe na hiyo manga yako bado hujatoka kwenyewe.
Hapana, kuna noma nayo.
Huwezi ongea nao kabla hujapita kwangu.
I will not allow your egocentric megalomania to drive me crazy.
Bring back my daughter to me.
Hey, Kisaka. Kwani unazungumza peke yako siku hizi? Is Grandma Kathy in the house?
Yes, talking to Auntie Mimi.
Oh, really?
I don't want to hear from you. This is all your mess. Sasa tumepoteza huyo mtoto na huyo msichana.
What are you doing here, Millicent? I'm sure you didn't come all the way to give me parental tips.
Thank you, boss. Usiwahi niite jina tena. Nilikwambia nini kuhusu familia, boss?
A recent study by the APHRC reveals that 78% of abortions in Kenya were by women in stable relationships.
The pressure to have fewer and fewer children is pushing women towards having fewer children. In that context, if you do not have access to contraceptives, you become pregnant, but then you want to do away with that pregnancy one way or another.
These women fall within 24 to 34 age brackets. That is about 41.8%, with 15.6% being women over 35 and only 13.6% being adolescents under 20.
Contraception will avoid pregnancy, but we know of barrier methods which also have a certain benefit.
So this Tuesday, join us as we speak about unsafe abortions.
Alipaka mafuta halafu akaniambia niziepuse na saitani.
Na ukakubali?
Si hiyo nitakubali. Wewe unaweza kataa masani.
Wewe mafuta Wewe sikia.
Kwani alikuwa kupaka mafuta akipigwa.
Sasa si vile nilisikia anatolewa mapepo.
Ulipakwa mafuta mwili mzima.
Mwili mzima. Na nikaambiwa nisioge mpaka maombi ifike mbinguni.
Kawera.
Yes.
Uliingia hiyo kanisa? Ndio unitoe sabibu.
Wewe.
Ukampaka mafuta mama. Which side is the Pacific?
Wewe.
Kila kona.
The young generation awakens on Y254, the leading youth TV station in Kenya. We treat you to current affairs, entrepreneurship, health, and human interest conversations.
It's culture.
Movies, gossip and trends, sports, drama.
We bring you a vibe like no other. Straight to your living room.
To keep you informed, inspired, entertained, and most of all, refreshed. We are such a vibe.
Y254. Imagine.
Welcome back to KBC Lunchtime News. Many thanks indeed for joining us on this third day of June 2025. We have a comprehensive and detailed report on the days happening. My name is Njue, and Susan Thuku is our sign language interpreter for this live newscast. We begin in West Pokot, where leaders have raised concerns over an illegal commercial gold mining in the county, questioning its operations, which they say is ongoing without due procedure. The leaders have expressed their disappointment in what they term as exploitation of their local resources by foreigners that has since caused inter-clan conflict. The leaders now want the mining stopped, citing undue procedure to operate and distraction to the environment that includes pollution of rivers along area rivers. They further criticize a section of government officers who they accuse of being compromised. The gold mine areas that is causing jitters include Orwa, Kambi, Karaya, Takwel, Laminyeusi and Room areas.
Nataka niulize Wizara ya Elimu katika West Pokot ama na Abasigor wakuje na waangalie na watoe report kamili na wapeane kule juu.
Peleka mashini yenu, na kama kuna namna ya kutaka biashara, fuata biashara vile sheria inataka.
Watu wa NEMA, National Environmental Management Authority, kama hawa ndio walipeana leseni ya watu kufanya kazi hii, this illegal commercial mining, wajitokeze.
Mambo haya nakemea kama mama ya kaunti hii na kuuliza ni nani huyo alipeana license. County Commissioner ako na nini ya kutuambia kuhusu haya mambo?
Nimeambiwa mara nyingi pengine ninajihusisha katika mining. I have no interest in mining. I am serving all the communities living in West Pokot. I am not doing any discrimination.
Lakini lazima pia tutafute solution. Ama tukae chini tuseme hata mimi kama kaunti ile 20% ile county commissioner amesema iko katika sheria.
Elsewhere, 4 suspected terrorists have been shot dead and guns and ammunition recovered after the National Police Service Elite Special Operations Group raided terrorist hideouts in the Najo and Guracho areas of Garisa County. The officers stormed the terrorist hideouts, resulting into an exchange of fire, overwhelming the suspected Al-Shabaab terrorists. The 4 who were fatally shot during the incident. The officers recovered 4 AK-47 rifles, 1 PKM machine gun, assorted ammunition, and communication gadgets, among other items. The National Police Service, working collaboratively with other security agencies and local communities, say they remain committed to serving and protecting the country from criminal elements. Moving on, the government has intensified its tobacco control measures, citing 45 billion shillings in annual health expenses and economic losses attributed to tobacco use. The efforts aim to tackle new and emerging issues related to tobacco consumption. In a major operation in Eldoret, authorities seized and destroyed 5.5 tons of illicit tobacco products, including shisha, as part of an ongoing crackdown on illegal tobacco trade. As part of strengthening public awareness, the government has published new health warning laws requiring clearer, more visible warning on tobacco packaging. In support of healthier livelihoods, tobacco farmers are being encouraged to transition to alternative crops, with training and support programs underway to facilitate the shift. The Court of Appeal last year upheld the national ban on shisha products.
.5% of young Kenyans between the age of 15 to 65, they use tobacco, putting them at a very high risk to their health, risk of cancer, of heart disease, and other respiratory illness.
To some politics now, where Kenya Kwanza leaders drawn from the South Rift region have told off their counterparts in the opposition for criticizing the broad-based government, saying they should allow the government to work. The leaders have, however, raised concerns over rising political temperatures, urging the church to pray for the stability of the country. This and more stories in our political wrap.
Defending the broad-based government, the leaders from South Rift region, including Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok, Bomet Senator Hilary Sigei, and Emurua Dikiri MP Johanna Ngeno, said despite pitfalls experienced in health, education and other sectors, the Ruto administration is determined to ensure smooth flow of service delivery.
Na wale watu wanaleta fitina, they want to fight our country, we are saying no. Mwenyezi Mungu ataongoza uongozi wa William Ruto kutoka kwa mambo ya KBC, kutoka kwa mambo ya SHA, kutoka kwa mambo ya ukulima, na hata vijana mlikuwa mnasikia mkikamwanga anasema wanapungua, ni kwa sababu ya ile kazi ya uongozi. Sio watu ambao tunasaidia rais kufanya kazi ile tulimpea afanye malize tano, alafu arudi amalize ingine tano kama kwenye sheria inasema.
Their sentiments were backed by Dagoretti South MP, who urged communities living in Dagoretti South to support the national government to benefit from development projects.
Mashule yetu tunazidi kuyaboresha, mabarabara yetu tunazidi kuyaboresha, hata maslahi ya mwananchi hapa Dagoretti tunazidi kuiboresha, na haya hayawezi yakatendeka tukiwa nje ya serikali.
In Meru County, Devolution Empowerment Party leader Kiretu Murungi maintained his party is still in the government and has no plans to join the opposition.
You are given and you appreciate what you are given. But then you don't prevent the one who is giving the cake from giving to others. So the president has a right to share this cake and see other people in the lake, in the coast and other, so long as he does not forget that we are also entitled to it here.
In Embu County, a section of residents defending Governor Cecily Mbarire, who has alleged powerful government officials, want her to be fired as the chairperson of the ruling UDA party.
Tunawakoma na tuambie wakome hiyo tabia, sababu sisi kama wamama tunapenda gavana sana na tunataka kufanyiwa kazi na gavana. Wasisuie gavana kutufanyia kazi na mambo ya matusi.
Kiendelea kutukana ni wao wamamtukana. Tutapiga nduru, tusukue miti juu na tuende mpaka state house.
Meanwhile, Mavoko MP Patrick Makau slammed the former deputy president, accusing him of attempting to meddle in Ukambani politics.
Uweze kuja kwa boma ya mtu alafu anze kumwambia huyu kijana yako ako hivi na vile kwa njia mbaya. Kwa hivyo hata kuniongelea mbaya mbele ya kinara ya Wiper ambaye ni kiongozi wangu, hiyo ilionyesha kwamba yeye hata haheshimu hiyo chama, haheshimu huyo kinara na hata haheshimu mbunge.
Giverson Maina, Lunchtime News.
Another news, bang worth 10 million shillings has been seized at the Elebo area near the Kenya-Ethiopia border. The bang that was being transported in a Land Cruiser and packed in 12 bags was seized around 3 a.m. with Sololo Deputy County Commissioner Edward Goko lauding the National Police reservists for their efforts that led to the arrest of one of the suspects. The suspect is currently receiving treatment under heavy security. Ngoko called for additional reservists in the area, saying their presence has registered significant success in efforts to deal with crime in Marsabit County.
Training ambayo walienda inaonekana ilikuwa training ambayo inafaa kwa sababu kwa muda wa miezi 9 tangu watoke training tunaona mazao.
Na kwa sababu hiyo mahabusu walikuwa wameumia mguu kidogo, amepelekwa hospitali na maafisa wangu. Kutoka hapo atapelekwa mahakamani haraka iwezekanavyo.
Very well, for our next news item, we cross over to the Social Health Authority headquarters, SHA headquarters, where former health CS and now the new CEO of SHA, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi, is currently taking over office, and currently speaking is PS Oluga of the Medical Services. Let's listen in.
That requires a bit of patriotism,
Because if I am healthy, I contribute for those who are sick. If I have, I contribute for those who do not have. And this is really the point of departure with the old system, which was a member-based system. A member-based system does not pool the risks. It only pools the resources. And I hope today you get the difference. That really we are in an institution whose mandate is also to pool the risk. And that is something that we would love, as you have helped us, to emphasize that we must pool the risk. Those who are healthy must contribute. Those who have must contribute. So that those who are sick and those who do not have, we all can be at the same level. That's the principle that we talked about, the principle of the right to health. Without that, then we don't have that right to health. Without that, then you don't have universal health coverage. And this is in the principles I've mentioned of solidarity, of equity, and also to ensure that we have efficiency that guarantees every single Kenyan access to care. And the last bit, which is the bit that is well talked about, is the strategic purchasing of healthcare. This is where you hear about facilities, this is where you talk about the benefit package. This is where you talk about the things that can be paid for versus what cannot be paid for. This is where you hear of what is paid. You know, there's what we can pay for, but also there's how much we pay for it. So all of this is around strategic purchasing. And those four key issues form the mandate of this institution. And we are very keen to make sure that we are efficiently implementing this mandate of the institution. And as you help us position this institution, because it is really you who is the voice that can make sure that Kenyans do understand, that all our partners do understand, so that they help us in doing this work. And this is really the work that we are handing over to the CEO today, because she is well capable, she is well competent. I think she's not new to you. You have seen her before. And we really thank the directors here for giving us a very warm welcome. Earlier, we were also with the cabinet secretary who gave us the full blessings. And so it's really all systems go. We want to assure Kenyans that we want to build an institution that is transparent, that is accountable, and that will usher in a new era of health services in this country. We want to assure Kenyans that we need their support to do the work that they have placed in the hands of His Excellency the President. We have to implement that plan.
That has been Dr. Ouma Oluga, who is the PS for Medical Services. They're exuding confidence in the newly appointed the CEO of SHA, Dr. Mercy Mwangangi there, and also urging Kenyans to be faithful in their deductions to actualize the social health insurance scheme. Mwangangi is taking over from Elijah Washira. She was appointed on April the 11th to spearhead the Social Health Authority. We get more in our subsequent bulletin. Moving on, a family from Ongoroi, village in Teso South, Busia County, is in distress following the mysterious disappearance of their kin in Nakuru in October last year, hours after attending a court session. Francis Echelepata was reportedly arrested for his alleged involvement in robbery and was out on bond but disappeared under unclear circumstances. According to his wife, Judith Nyaboke, the family has been receiving disturbing calls from the prime suspect, who was last seen with her husband a few hours before his phone was switched off. The family is now appealing to the government to produce their son in court, dead or alive, and bring closure to the ordeal that has left them emotionally and financially devastated.
Mstakiwa mwenzake Jack Odhiambo akanipigia simu akaniambia amemwacha Frank pale Nairobi kiwanja ndege. Mimi nikamuulizia kwani Frank amebaki hapo akifanya nini? kuanzia hiyo wakati mpaka na sasa sijawahi ona mume wangu. Sielewi alienda wapi, na huyo mstakiwa ambaye alikuwa ameniambia kwamba eti alimwacha mahali pale.
Serikali nisaidie, mimi nahangaika na watoto yake hapa nyumbani. Kuna mtu anasaidia mimi. Yeye ndiye alikuwa anasaidia mimi. Tena aliwacha mimi hapa kama mgonjwa wa macho.
Moving on, residents of Ganze constituency in Kilifi County have called on the government to fulfill its promise of putting up a protective fence around the Tsavo National Park following a series of destructive invasions by elephants. Speaking during a press briefing, the villagers argued that the Kenya Wildlife Service, KWS, has failed to control the elephant menace. Despite numerous complaints, they say the elephants have been raiding and destroying vital food sources for the community. Bamba Ward MCA Saidi Mohamed Mwambire warned that the presence of over 2,000 elephants roaming the region poses serious risk to learning and the local economy.
Juzi usiku kuliingia ndovu wengi zaidi ya ndovu 500, wenye wakati huo tukiamka tukiangalia ndovu wametapakaa kila mahali kama venye mnaona hapa kwa shamba. Miti yote imeliwa. Shamba lilikuwa na miti mingi, pojo, kunde, mahindi hata yalikuwa yako karibu kukauka. Basi ndovu waliharibu sana.
Hili swala ni la serikali kuu pamoja na serikali gatuzi yetu ya Kilifi, kwamba mchukue hatua madhubuti. Sisi kama viongozi wa Ganze, mimi kama kiongozi wa Bamba, tumechoka kuomba kila siku serikali ije hapa kuweza kutusaidia haya. Na ikiwa haitawezekana, hawa ndovu hawatakuwa hapa, basi sisi tutachukua sheria mikononi.
Now, women along the Kenyan coast are making waves in marine conservation and the blue economy, an area where they have long been underrepresented. With support from non-governmental organizations and local authorities, the women are now leading initiatives that promote sustainable use of ocean resources, challenging long-standing cultural barriers. At a recent 5-day training in Malindi hosted by the Resia Project Mission Inclusion Organization, 30 women groups came together to boost their leadership and marine conservation skills. Malindi Ladies in Fisheries chairperson Manthura Yusuf urged women to take advantage of the changing cultural tides and compete effectively in the economic space.
Our hope is that we create regenerative economies. So the sustainable development of it is very important. So women will leave understanding the value chains, understanding how that impacts everything that they do and the decisions that they made.
And still at the coast, leaders in Lamu East are urging residents to stop protecting perpetrators of sexual violence amid rising cases in the region. Police in the area have been accused of being complacent by failing to investigate cases of gender-based violence. The urgent appeal was made during a special event organized by Lamu East Member of Parliament, Rueda Obo, which brought together local leaders, activists and key stakeholders in addressing the rising cases of sexual violence in the region. The leaders pledged to intensify awareness campaigns and support system for survivors with the aim of creating a safer and more just society for all residents of Lamu East.
Mkificha mtasaidika vipi? Sasa msifiche. Akupiga usione aibu. Mwanamke ukipigwa ukiendelea kuvumilia siku nyingine kisu. Haisifike hapo.
Kama wewe ni mama, ama wewe ni mzazi, ama wewe ni baba, chukua jukumu na uhakikisha ya kwamba haki yako inalindwa, na sisi kama serikali tuko hapa na tuhakikisha sheria inafuatwa vile inatakikana.
From the sunny beaches of the coast to Garisa, where the county government of Garisa has completed the Modogashe water project that is expected to serve at least 30,000 people. The town has in the past had perennial water shortages, leaving locals to depend on water trucking and shallow wells that are often unreliable. Governor Nathif Jama, while launching the project that features 4 fully equipped boreholes and a steady pipeline for distribution, said the Garisa Water and Sewerage Company will take over and ensure uninterrupted supply of water to the residents of the town.
na pia maji imefika all government institutions, mahospitali, mashule zote wamepata maji.
Tunataka maji izambaze paka. Normally we share resources with them. We are neighbors. We have been staying together for the last 100 years.
From Garissa, our next news item, we come right here in Nairobi, where UHC, the Universal Health Workers, are currently protesting at Afya House in regards to, after being transferred to the counties, they are claiming better terms. My colleague Kasichana Masha is currently on standby to give us more in regards to the same. Good afternoon, Masha. If you can hear me, kindly bring us up to the latest from Afya House.
Yes, a very good afternoon to you, Ben Troy, all the way from the broadcasting house. My name is Kasichana Masha, and we're coming live to you from Afya House at the Ministry of Health buildings, just right outside the building, whereby we are joined by a section of UHC workers from across the country, from different counties, whereby today they're hitting about their 4th month now since they started their industrial action, decrying of several grievances, among them the harmonization of salaries, calling on the government to give them better terms. Now that the CS a few weeks ago, he instructed that they should now be transferred to county level, but there's been a pull and push between the Ministry of Health and the UHC workers. But with me here, I'm joined with a section of the leaders. Maybe they'll just to give us a hint on whatever is whatever is happening today here, and moving forward, maybe what's their take, what's their stand on the entire issue around them being transferred now to county level. Karibu sana, kindly introduce yourself and then tell us why are we here today, and moving forward, maybe what's the way forward now that the CS he insisted that you should be transferred to county level.
Okay, thank you. I'm Joseph Gwasi, the National Chairman, Kenya National Union of Nurses. We are here with the UHC health workers with 2 demands. One, these health workers have been working since 2020, being paid half salary, yet they are giving the same services their counterparts on permanent pensionable that are given. So we are saying that their terms should be regularized. One, we want to state clearly that we are not opposed to decentralization of the payroll, but the terms should be regularized first. They should be paid as PNP before the ministry makes an attempt of taking this payroll to the county government, because these health workers have suffered a lot for those years. Again, we have a demand. The law is clear that once you work on contract, after the end of the contract, you're supposed to be paid and gratuity. And we are saying that there is a contract that expires after the first 3 years. They should be paid the 3 years gratuity and the 2 years that they have worked. So a total of 5 years should be paid gratuity, and their terms be converted PNP. Additionally, we want to make it clear that as leaders of unions, we are not opposed to end count, because they are saying that they have ghost workers. If they are ghost workers, it is the ministry which should be held accountable, and we do not support that, because that is siphonning money which is supposed to convert the UHC staffs.
Now it's been almost 4 months since you started your industrial action. Maybe have you gotten any confirmation, maybe any communication, or maybe have any engagements with either the ministry or maybe even the leaders within the county level, or what's their take about your industrial action so far?
Okay, my name is Alias Mtai. I'm a UHC representative. So far, the parliament is trying to take responsibility. They're saying they are going to allocate money for the purposes of giving us full salary and also paying our 5 years gratuity. So our message just to Waziri Ndwale is that we are ready to go and serve in the respective counties, and we are ready to go. But the problem is
Kasichana Masha, they're engaging some of the UHC workers who continue their 4-month industrial action in regards to what they're claiming. We don't have the better terms, despite the fact that they have been transferred to the counties, and also they are faulting the government for failure to weed out the ghost workers. Yesterday, the Council of Governors mentioned that there are indeed over 3,000 ghost workers in the UHC. And of course, we'll be getting more in regards to that. But let's take a quick break. But when we come back, I will be having an interactive segment here with in regards to mobilizing savings for investment. And I'll be hosting Mandira Sharma, who is the manager banking, financial services and insurance at Microsave Consulting. That is one piece that you don't want to miss. Let's take a break.
Imagine a future where you can enjoy the fruits of your hard work without financial worries. A time when you can truly relax, travel, and pursue your passions. To achieve that dream, you need to plan today. With the cost of living constantly rising and inflation showing no signs of slowing down, the money you need today will be nearly 10 times higher by the time you retire. Without a solid retirement plan, you risk financial insecurity when your active income stops. That's why saving for retirement is necessary. Regardless of your age, it's never too early or too late to start planning. Engage with experts from any RBA registered individual pension plan for guidance in tailoring a retirement strategy based on your current lifestyle, future goals, and desired retirement age. This provides the fixed regular income you need after retirement to ensure you live comfortably without compromising your quality of life. The earlier you start saving, the more secure your future will be. Start saving for your retirement today and live your golden years the way you've always dreamed. For more information, visit our website www.rba.go.ke, call our toll-free line 0800 720 300 or email info@rba.go.ke. Secure your future. Secure your peace of mind. RBA, safeguarding your retirement benefits.
Je, umewahi kuwa na deni ya KRA? Basi usiwe na shaka. KRA wakishirikiana na KBC wamekuandalia roadshow murwa kabisa. Jiunge nasi tukufahamishe kuhusu KRA Tax Amnesty Program na jinsi utakavyoweza kusamehewa adhabu na riba na KRA. Pia tutakuwa tunakusaidia kujaza fomu za kodi za mwaka 2024 na kukusaidia na huduma za KRA kwa mtaa wako. Jumanne tarehe 3 mwezi Juni tutakuwa maeneo ya Machakos kuanzia Syokimau na kupitia Mlolongo, Kitengela, Athi River, Machakos, Mtituni na tumalizie Tala. KRA, tulipe ushuru, tujitegemee. It is time to create lifelong memories, time to write down history, and it is time to give a blow-by-blow account of each football match played right here in Africa. This is just the start of something very special.
Against Mamadou Sy for Algeria to stay in the penalty shootout. And it is Senegal who claim the title as Gendouzi strikes the woodwork.
You don't want to miss this classy treat, live and exclusive on KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Time to make sense of business. Now, small businesses are reporting increased foot traffic supported by customers' interest in finding a soft drink featuring their names. The campaign has triggered a surge in consumer interest and social media and stimulated grassroots economy, revitalizing small businesses, boosting sales in retail outlets and entertainment venues.
But for Share Coke, we are trying to make sure that, in this digital age, we are reminding them of what one-on-one connections mean. Like all of us who are here today, seated at this terminal, getting, to see people react to seeing a Coke with their name on it and talk to one another. So those one-on-one connections are things that we need to bring back for this generation, especially because of the fact that we know they might miss it when they are actually living online. That excitement, of people being able to find their names allows for more people to be able to buy, which then increases their business, their sales, ideally. But at the core of it is all celebrating these connections, even with that vendor, being able to connect with their day-to-day consumer.
We're all about making every experience with Jambojet more than a journey. And so this is another opportunity to do that with the customer. So for them, as they're traveling, they're on a normal travel, maybe they're going to business or they're going on holiday. And if you can get something extra and give them something extra, of course, it builds on that experience for the customer.
The Kenya Institute of Supplies Management say over 40% of supply chain practitioners across the country are unqualified and operating illegally. KISM Chief Executive Kenneth Matiba says counties lead in non-compliance with practitioners lacking valid practice license, which is illegal according to the Supply and Procurement Management Act.
The countrywide compliance check by the Kenya Institute of Supplies Management targeted 109 institutions, including 20 ministries, 13 counties, 21 private institutions, and 55 state corporations, where it emerged that 15% of the practitioners were practicing illegally.
And we have therefore taken the necessary steps to ensure that we discharge our mandate in accordance with the law, by making this information public and by encouraging those employers to ensure that these members who are working in the supply chain functions are duly registered and licensed as required by the law.
Following the survey, the Institute has initiated disciplinary proceedings against 116 practitioners found to be practicing without a license. The disciplinary committee has determined that 93 cases should proceed for hearing.
The state of non-compliance, first, is a legal matter. But again, in terms of service delivery, it means then the legitimacy of procurements arising from processes overseen by those officers may also be exposed. We encourage professionals to be in good standing so that then the professional opinions that they give to their employers as required by the law are professional opinions that can be supported within the legal standing of the law.
With the bulk of anomalies cited within the devolved units, the Institute will be partnering with county governments and private players to enhance full compliance with the law.
Right now, they're doing what we call TOT rollout, but KISM is a very key partner in the training of supplies practitioners or procurement professionals in the rollout of EGP. So we are very much joined and very much in sync with the National Treasury in ensuring a seamless rollout.
The Institute is backing the rollout of e-government procurement by the National Treasury to ensure a seamless rollout of the digitized system, which will enhance transparency and openness in the sector. Regina Manyara reporting for Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere, Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, Kusco, has initiated efforts to attach assets of those who defaulted on its loans. Kenya National Police Sacos chairperson David Mategwa, who also chairs Kusco, says this is part of efforts by the umbrella Sacco to recoup cash to settle amounts owed to cooperatives that had saved with it. Mategwa further says the Kenya National Police Sacco has rolled out a countrywide campaign to sensitize the public on savings and other economic benefits of joining Sacos.
we have taken the due process legally to make sure that the properties that we are going to auction, it will come back to Kusco, and that tells us that the probability of people getting back their money is there.
Talking about investment, I do apologize for that technical hitch. We are looking at making sense of shillings and cents, and we are looking at mobilizing savings for investment. I'm quite sure you do not want to be part of those people who have heard that they will have to attach their assets in regards to a loan that they took. That is one of what we'll be talking about here. And joining me to drive this conversation very fast is Mandira Sharma, Manager Banking, Financial Services and Insurance at Microsave Consulting. Welcome to the program.
Thank you so much.
I've seen the essence of savings. Why is it that it's very important and essential for financial inclusivity in Kenya today, and especially when you talk about Sacos? A lot of people are shifting from recognized banks to savings and credit cooperatives.
Thank you so much for that. So Sacos are an integral sort of inclusive financial instrument in Kenya's architecture of financial inclusion. Sacos are able to serve around mobilize assets and savings of about 300 billion shillings. And they're able to serve customers who are marginalized, low-income rural households who do not have access to financial service providers, who do not have access to banks, for example. And they're able to reach those customers who do not have a credit history, they do not have collateral, and they're not able to easily sort of go to the banks and acquire credit. So I think it's very important for Sacos to be capitalized, to be given capacity building trainings, because these are the ones who are serving around 40 to 45% of the Kenyan population, which is unserved by, again, financial service providers, our private banks, our government banks, who are only providing credit to the upper middle income households rather than the lower income households, which are the driving growth to GDP, which are the SMEs, the micro small enterprises, small medium enterprises, and even the medium growing income enterprises. So these are the backbone of GDP for the entire country, which are being provided credit by these Sacos. So I think the investment point of view from the Sacos is huge, and there is where the government needs to sort of put in effort to capitalize them, to mobilize them, to capacity and train them so that they're able to serve those segments which are actually lacking income credit.
Talking about unique advantages, what exactly are the unique advantages of savings in a Sacco, especially for low-income households, just like you mentioned, as opposed to banks that have a big asset base? I joined a Sacco around 10 years ago, and I know why I'm in a Sacco, and I've already tested the bank. Why is it especially unique for low-income households?
So Saccos, firstly, when you go to a Sacco, you might have seen you do not require collateral, right? So they ask you to sort of set up a cash base or a savings base with us, with them. For example, 6 months, if you're able to save with them, they'll provide you with that credit. So they won't ask you for any tangible asset which you need to provide to the Sacco to be able to get the credit. In those 6 months after that, you can get that credit. So you just have to save for those 6 months. And I think it varies from Sacco to Sacco. The other thing is, a lot of Saccos are sort of embedded in the value chain. So they do understand the customers very well. They do understand what are the requirements of those customers. For example, if they're looking at serving agri customers, then they understand that agri customers have a seasonal requirement of cash. They can only pay after harvest. So they're able to sort of set those credit terms and limits according to that. They're able to offer those grace periods and loan periods according to their income cycles, vis-a-vis banks, which do not necessarily understand this segment of the customer very well. So they're not able to sort of tailor and customize those products according to the customers. The other thing is they are able, since these are a community of members, and a lot of women are also part of these savings and credit cooperatives. Since they're a community of members, they come together, they pool the resources. They're also able to get sort of capital intensive training. They're also able to get financial management training. They're able to get training on how to sort of use logbooks, how to invest greater details in their businesses, especially for MSMEs, which is a key requirement. And the other thing is that they're also sort of able to solve the inclusion barriers which I was talking about earlier, where these are embedded in rural systems or even in low-income households who are sort of very, very far removed from the formal banking infrastructure. So in order to serve them, these Sacos are rightly situated in areas where they are definitely present, plus they understand the needs of the customers, and then they are able to customize the products to the needs of the customers. So they're able to serve them efficiently and better.
What policy frameworks or regulatory frameworks are essential to help Sacos scale more sustainably?
That's a good question. So firstly, it's important, and a lot of countries have started doing it. For example, in India, right now, credit cooperatives are called savings groups or self-help groups. They are sort of being digitized. So they are developing an app which is in India, it's called LocOS. Even in Nigeria, they're doing a similar thing. So when you digitize those applications, when you're digitizing the manual record keeping, what you're in sense doing is developing a credit history, which is necessarily not present with Sacos in Kenya right now. So when you're able to develop that credit history, you're also able to sort of digitize the Saco, improve the manual operations where they're going digital, and then you're able to decently connect them to a bank, or even better, you're able to provide, when donors and government come into place, they're able to see that credit history, they're able to see the transactions that are taking place, and they're able to provide them with the necessary credit without, again, collateral. So the digitization of Sacos is one thing which is very important. The other thing is also sort of getting them into federated structures where you can have more pooling of resources, more pooling of savings, and then the aggregation of Sacos, which I think is very important. In Kenya has like 350 deposit-taking and non-deposit-taking Sacos. So if you're able to sort of aggregate these together, then the pooling of resources will be better. And that helps in sort of also getting external funding from donors and even from the government. So these are some of the steps, I think, which are very, very important. And again, the other thing is a lot of these Sacos lack the financial management training, the governance structures. So if we can sort of get the government involved in sort of training them and then progressing them to the next level, that will be very great, and it will help in sort of increasing and improving this inclusive financial infrastructure, which Sacos are a key component of.
Yes, it's a good thing that you've mentioned cybersecurity, and especially when it comes to theft. But how can Sacos, and especially Kusco, that is, we've seen an article in regards to that, to protect the customers' deposits from being mismanaged by even managers? We've seen cases in court.
So, as I have already mentioned, firstly, if a lot of these funding, a lot of the savings that is happening right now is manual. So firstly, what we need to do, and I think that is a step towards is digitizing these savings. We need a certain sort of record of members' savings where the member can look into how much they have saved, and it forms part of the governance and the infrastructure, so that even the management of the board of directors, everybody can see how much the members are saving, so that forms a digital record, and that's definitely decreases the leakages that are happening in the system right now. The other thing is, a lot of governance issues which the Saco faces is also because of this digital exclusion that is currently happening. So if we can get some sort of, for example, if Kusco can get some sort of security guarantee funds, where if the depositor's money is not returned back to them, these funds or these guarantee funds are able to sort of cover it and provide that sort of guarantee, which also enables the depositor to have trust in the system. So I think both of these together, the digital savings and the guarantee funds together, can sort of really, really help to save firstly the money for both of us, for all of us, and also for the borrower to have the trust in the system is also very important.
And we have, my last question, we have a very robust Saco movement in Kenya, which is actually the best in Africa, and I think we are top 5 in the whole world. How has this transformed women groups, especially because we are seeing they are really moving the economy as we wind up?
So I think especially in East Africa, and especially in Kenya, as you mentioned, women groups are very, very important. They are a backbone of the country's GDP. Also because a lot of these groups are involved in MSMEs, where they're doing small, medium enterprises, which need credit. So Sacos have been able to sort of lend to these, provide them with working capital, provide them with support. Also there's a social collateral component of it, which helps them not to sort of rely on tangible collateral. So when these elements come together, and then there is again a huge component which women have, which is of trust, which they're able to sort of depend on the counterparts, they're able to depend on the system. So I think just strengthening these aspects of it, digitizing it, we can also take out more money out of these cooperative groups, and also be able to get them more capital and cash, because right now the biggest issue with Sacos and especially serving women is that they're undercapitalized. So in order to capitalize them, it's important for the government and donors to come in and put in money into these systems and also digitize them, so these processes can be made more efficient, and this will definitely help groups, women groups especially, succeed and go further in their systems.
Mandira Sharma, thank you indeed so much for your time and your insight. We have been looking at mobilizing savings for investment, and especially when it comes to Sacco, they are a game changer in the country. As I said, we rank highly in Africa as #1, and we are on the global map. Sports next. Sports news is up next.
Thank you.
Time to play, and we begin with soccer or football. The national soccer team, Harambe Stars, held its first training session in Morocco ahead of their international friendly matches against Chza, scheduled from this weekend. The matches are part of preparations for the upcoming African Nations Championship CHAN set to kick off this August. The 25-man squad took part in a session focused on building match fitness, sharpening tactics and strengthening cohesion as head coach Benny McCarthy continues to assess his options ahead of the tournament. Speaking after the session, Harambe Stars head coach Benny McCarthy expressed optimism about the team's preparations ahead of the matches. Harambe Starlets are also in Morocco for an international friendly match scheduled to be played tomorrow against the host in a build-up towards the final round of the 2026 Women Africa Cup of Nations qualifier against Gambia.
And in good spirit, so I hope we're going to have a good week, and I think there's 2 friendly matches that's coming up. It's just to give everyone a little bit of match fitness, but to get us going for CHAN, you know. So that's the purpose of this camp, and also the international players that I did call. They were players that I didn't really had much to see of them when we were in the last camp, and I just felt it was just a good opportunity for Will Wilson, who I think was very important for our two World Cup qualifying matches.
Elsewhere, Cabra's Queens are this year's winners of the Tujamin Chza Dimba tournament after claiming a 1-0 win against Kimanget FC. Upendon FC claimed the men's title after a hard-fought match against Nakarila FC. This year's edition brought together 8 grassroots teams, 6 males and 2 female teams, in an electrifying competition aimed at celebrating talent and empowering young players. Men winners pocketed 250,000 Kenya shillings, while the ladies bagged 50,000 shillings.
Kama Upendo, hii ndio itatusaidia sana. Tunacheza regional, tuna top, na kuna vitu tuna lack, vitu mob sana. Kama players tuna struggle sana hata kufika mazoezi. Kila msee anajilipia fare, anajitoa zoezi, anajileta zoezi. So itatusaidia hapo.
Further afield, Kazakhstan's Alexander Bublik became the first Kazakhstani to reach the quarterfinals of the French Open when he eliminated world number 5 British Jack Draper in the 4th round on court Suzanne Le Glen. Bublik's performance marked his first ever Grand Slam quarterfinal appearance after claiming an inspiring 5-7, 6-3, 6-2 and 6-4 win over the 23-year-old, which also marked the end of British participation in the men's singles at the Roland Garros this year. He is set to face world number 1 Jannik Sinner in the quarterfinals. Novak Djokovic, the Serb, is also through to the quarterfinals after he ended Cameroon's Norris run with a straight-set victory in his bid for a record 25th Grand Slam singles title. The 6th seed will face Alexander Zverev in the last 8, hoping to avenge this year's defeat to the German in the Australian Open at the semi-final stage. The women's matches saw world number 2 Coco Gauff progress to the quarterfinals against Australian Open champion Madison Keys after defeating Russian 20th seed Ekaterina Alexandrova in straight sets. Madison booked her place after overcoming her compatriot Haile Baptiste. From France to England, where the three Lions of England are not taking anything to chance as they prepare for the FIFA World Cup, scheduled to be co-hosted, by USA, Canada and Mexico next year. They have decided to use heated tents as part of their training to replicate the conditions they could experience at the football's biggest showcase. Thomas Tuchel and his squad are currently in a training camp in Girona, Spain, where the players are being assessed on how to cope with extremely hot and humid conditions they could face at the FIFA World Cup. Players will carry out fitness tests before or inside the tents on exercise bikes as part of the program, and their recovery will also be analyzed. Tuchel said he will also travel to the FIFA Club World Cup this month in the United States to further assess the conditions. England will face Andorra in a FIFA World Cup qualifier this Saturday before playing Senegal in an international friendly in Nottingham Forest City grounds on Tuesday next week.
Okay, you're going to pass over to Ez. Ez is going to go, you're going to go 4 times round. 4 each side, yeah? 4 each side, then pass over to the person. 4 each side. Experience when you're in your...
Very well, that's where we put a cap on KBC Lunchtime News this afternoon. Thank you so much for watching. More news in our subsequent bulletin, but don't forget to check out our social media spaces for this news plus much, much more. I'm Njue, and Anne Wangeshi has been our sign language interpreter. Apologies, I had mentioned Susan Thilku, but Anne Wangeshi has been my colleague on the bottom right of your screen. And of course, on behalf of everyone who made this broadcast a success, including my news director, Jacqueline Wasolo, I wish you a pleasant afternoon ahead.
Say the earth without art would just be get it? We circumnavigate the globe and traverse the local scene to bring you art and culture at their very best. From fine art, culinary art, performing arts, and even cultural events, you name it, and we have got you covered. My name is Kevin Kasioki, and I will be serving you this and much, much more each and every Friday at 8 p.m. only on KBC Channel 1.
A lovely